Rex Tillerson went to Guam to ease tensions in regard to what's going on with North Korea, and he attempted to also make excuses for Donald Trump. And so I want you to watch the first video. Here is Rex Tillerson saying, look, you guys have nothing to worry about.
I think Americans should sleep well at night. I have no concerns about this particular rhetoric of the last few days. I think the president, again, as commander-in-chief, I think he felt it necessary to issue a very strong statement directly to North Korea. But I think what the president was just reaffirming is the United States has the capability to fully defend itself from any attack and defend our allies, and we will do so. And so the American people should sleep well at night.
Well, I'll tell you, I give him credit for one quick thing, which is going to Guam. Right. So when someone powerful, part of the elite, goes and says, "Look, everything's fine. I'm here. If it wasn't fine, I wouldn't be here." Well, knowing the elite, there's some truth to that. So it was actually slightly brave and definitely the right move for Tillerson to go to Guam. I like that. It
was the right move. So that statement, I mean, look, there was a lot of emphasis on making sure that Americans feel comfortable and letting them know that you can sleep at night. Again, there isn't much consideration for anyone else living in any other country that would be impacted by nuclear war. But nonetheless, this second part of what he had to say is what I think should be concerning, because again, it shows that Trump has surrounded himself with yes men who refuse to ever criticize him, maybe because they're worried about the ramifications like getting fired. Here's Rex Tillerson making his excuses for Trump.
What the president was doing is sending a strong message to North Korea in language that Kim Jong-un would understand, because he doesn't seem to understand diplomatic language.
Okay, I see that he understands that language, but he also understands that that language is going to rile him up further to the point where he now starts threatening Guam and threatening even more, retaliation against the United States and neighboring countries. So, yeah, he understands it, and he understands that it's going to make him even more angry and even more irrational.
I like how he's reading Kim Jong-un's mind. But basically he's saying, well, this is the, speaking Kim Jong-un's language. Are you sure we should be doing that? Remember, Kim Jong-un is a maniac. So I don't think that's a thing you brag about, like, now Donald Trump is speaking Kim Jong-un's language. I don't want our president speaking his language. That's a terrible idea. So just because he does maniacal over-the-top statements, which by the way, they have done for decades now. And until Trump, we had measured responses to it because we know that they don't launch after saying they're gonna rip the world apart and they're gonna send the tigers and the wolves, etc. That's their usual nonsense propaganda. But thin-skinned Trump over there with his very fragile egos, what did he say to me? What did he say to me? Well, I will talk his language, I will destroy. No, it's a different thing when the president of the United States says they'll destroy someone. That has a lot of meaning instead of a clown like Kim Jong-un yelling it, into the sky.
What I don't understand is, this is obviously an issue that comes up in every presidency, right? It came up during George W. Bush, came up during Obama, now it's coming up during Trump's administration. And what I fail to understand is, look, we have an intelligence community that is keeping an eye on North Korea and knows what's going on. And we also have a military that's supposed to have a strategy to help maintain national security and our safety. Why would Trump think that it's a good idea to publicly make these ridiculously irresponsible statements, right? Because if the US has the ability to protect itself, then why is it that all of this stuff needs to be public? Because all it's doing is fanning the flames. And look, I'm in favor of transparency, but it hasn't gotten to a point where North Korea is an imminent threat to the United States, and so Trump needs to release a public statement about what's going on. I mean, he's not measured. If I were surrounding him, or if I were in the White House as part of his administration, I'd sit him down and be like, look, there's a lot at stake here. Please don't make statements like that off the cuff. It needs to be measured, or else it could lead to a lot of people dying. And I feel like no one has the balls to tell him that.
Would he even understand it? Look, here's how a smart person would go about this. And by the way, if you say, you know what, Clinton didn't do enough, Bush didn't do enough, Obama didn't do enough, I hear you. So one of the things they should have done a lot more of is pressure China mainly, and Russia to some degree, because those are the only neighbors that North Korea actually cares about. Meaning that, look, yes, they care about sanctions that France or Japan might put in. but China and Russia are the only ones that are actually controlling the trade near their border. And if China and Russia cut it off, well, then the actual leadership in North Korea will be in trouble, and they know that. So for God's sake, get in there, figure out what the carrots and sticks for China and Russia are. And you might have to make a deal you don't like at all. You might say, hey, China, I'm gonna let you manipulate your currency, which I despise and on the campaign trail said I wouldn't do. But in return, you must do exactly what we want in North Korea. Or you don't do that deal, but at least you investigate that and you come up with all of your options. Those are options 1 through 99, way before you get to nukes. And if you have to use force, and I understand that of course at some point that could be possible. My God, man, before you start talking about nukes, I mean, do we have an intelligence community or don't we? Do we have, Navy SEAL Team 6 or don't we? I would take every Navy SEAL team there is, 1 through 6, 1 through 60, and I would rather drop them in the middle of North Korea's leadership. And yes, of course that risks their lives. They're Navy SEAL Team 6. That's their whole point. We use them instead of losing millions of people, whether they're in North Korea, South Korea, Japan, or in the US. So I would do 1,000 options before I got to the nukes. On the minute this guy's challenged and his ego is challenged, let's bring out the nukes. That's why he's a monster. That's why I think the whole world is in big trouble here, because nobody can corral him, and it isn't about what the right thing is, and he does not have the intellect to figure it out. So he does what any baboon would do. Okay, bring me a stick and I'll bash their heads in.
Right.
We're supposed to be better than that. Watch the Young Turks commercial free, download it or stream it, watch it any way you like at tytnetwork.com/join.